What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. If we're just meeting, my name is Garrett. I'm a seven-figure Amazon seller showing you guys how you can make a living off Amazon as well. Now, I've heard a lot of people start asking recently about paying themselves in their Amazon and from their Amazon business. What's that timing look like? When is the right time to start paying themselves? When it's too early? And ultimately, and most importantly, what's a good amount to pay themselves from their business? Not to prohibit the sustained growth from their sales and all those sorts of things. So we're going to talk about all that today. So stay tuned and enjoy. So before we get into the actual calculation, right, I want to make a couple things clear. This isn't going to be a conversation you have with yourself, 2 months in, you just getting going, right? This is something down the line, whether you're evaluating whether you can go full-time, right? You want to compare your potential Amazon salary to the salary you're getting at your full-time job. Or you just want to, start taking money, right? Obviously, this is a business where we don't want to be making or working all these hours and not have any reward for it, right? We want to be getting paid. Or you just kind of want to see the state of your business. If you were to take a salary, what that potential salary would and could look like. And so this is a conversation once you are really established as an Amazon business, not necessarily in the beginning. In the beginning, I'm a huge proponent of putting all those profits or as much as possible back into the business, right? If two people start, one person starts with $100, one person starts with $2,000 with the same equal knowledge, who do you think is going to grow faster? Obviously the one with $1,000, right? It just compounds faster. And so what I would say, especially getting going, is if you're able to, right, not everyone can, put all those profits back into the business because you're just going to see such a greater compound effect. So with that being said, right, today we want to really start to look at the how to figure out and how to solve for a potential salary in your Amazon business. And it can be confusing. It can be convoluted because cash flow is sort of a tricky thing, especially with Amazon. But what we do know is a couple numbers, right? And so what I would take is your 3-month average of payouts. And now what this number is that's going to be obviously your sales minus about 20 to 25%. If they're bigger, maybe even 30%, right? And that's accounting for like the FBA fees, all those fees that Amazon takes. And so what are your 3-month average, right? Average for each month over a 3-month period. What's your average payout that you're getting from Amazon over the monthly basis? Sum them up, average them for that past 3 months, and that will be your payout amount. And so let's call that $100,000. Well, you'd have to be selling, somewhere about like 120, 130,000 in order to generate 100,000 payout on a monthly basis. But that's start there. Now the next number is same 3-month average. But I want you to calculate and sum up your inventory cost. Right? How much are you spending on your inventory? What's your buy cost? On that monthly basis, average it out for 3 months. Right? And so that's going to be different for everyone. Right? If you have, just naturally a little better quality of products, maybe you're doing RA, maybe you're doing some sales for OA, that might be closer to 50% or 45%. If you're doing wholesale or you're doing really large-scale online arbitrage, you may be closer to 60 or 65%, right? So calculate what this average, your total inventory spend is on a monthly basis, and also itemize that. And so again, if we're doing a big-scale, large-scale OA business, this may be $65,000 or maybe $70,000 on a monthly basis, time in, time out, right? Now, the key here is, hey, quick commercial break. I appreciate you guys supporting and following the channel. If you are enjoying this particular video, which I'm assuming you are if you're still watching it to this point, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Scroll down, hit that subscribe button. Helps me out, helps the channel out. Let's get back to the content. We want to figure out the ratio between how much we're spending on inventory and how much Amazon's paying out. What's the result of our sales? And so that'll give us a ratio. And so if we take the average average monthly spent on inventory, and then divide that, set a border here, divide that by your average payout from Amazon. Again, the result of that may be 60%, maybe 70%, and maybe 55%. Whatever that number is, we want to solve for that. We want to account for that. So in this case, right, we will do that. We'll take average monthly spend, we'll divide it by our payouts, and we're going to get 70%. So what that tells us is out of every dollar that Amazon pays us, 70% is going to inventory. It's going to paying off credit card bills. It's going to buy future inventory. Whatever that case is, we know 70% of every dollar, right? So now when Amazon pays us $1,000, we know 700 of that $1,000 is probably already accounted for on a credit card bill somewhere. So this is going to allow us to stay on top of all of our credit card bills, right? All of our inventory spend. We shouldn't have any issues paying credit card bills as long as our inventory spend remains, relatively the same or increasing trajectory, which we'll talk about. And as long as the cadence of Amazon's payouts don't change, this will be a pretty realistic, a pretty accurate number. And we'll be able to use this to dictate where money is going. All right, so this is the starting point. And so now from this point on, right, what I would even do if you're still growing, I wouldn't take this for what it's worth. I would add probably 5 or 10% on top of this, right, so to account for growth. And so let's call this 80%. 80% of all payouts are going to inventory. So that's to account for growth, for continued Amazon spend growth, right? The more we spend, the more we make, right? The bigger our business gets. So we want to bake in some of that inventory growth, whether it's 5%, 10%, whatever that is. We want to bake in some increased spending capability. And so that's what this does. And so this really would be our final number. Now you realize, right, so 80% of these payouts are going to inventory. Now, how do we account for the other 20%? Well, that other 20%, which obviously is just 100 minus the 80 that's going to inventory, right? That's what's left over. Now, that's not all on the table. So we have to account for this 20%. And so now what I would do is go to, and so what this 20% is going to is it's going to taxes, it's going to any like software and stuff, right? And mainly, and the point of this video is it's going to salary or paying yourself or paying your employees, right? Obviously VAs are in there as well. But this is the key one. And this is the one we want to talk about. The first one I would account for is taxes. So I would probably reach out to your CPA, ask your CPA, and kind of walk him through this blueprint, this foundation, just to get an estimate in terms of how much of, this inventory or this payout should be going somewhere to save for taxes. I would ask him, and so you can account for that, right? And so maybe this is 5%. Maybe this is 5% of all your payouts are going to taxes. And so now right, out of the 100,000 or the 100%, 80% is going to your spend, and now 5%, based on what your CPA tells you, is going to taxes. Now, VAs, right? How much, and you can calculate this, if you pay them $100 per month or $500 per month. It's easy math, right? Take 500 and divide by payout average. It's going to be a very small percentage, right? And so this will probably be like 1%. Software, same thing, right? Take your fixed amount and divide it by how much you are generating in payouts, right? So this may be 3%. Those are easy because they're fixed numbers. They're not changing. And so you could just take that divided by your payout average, and that's what that is. And now what's left is our salary, right? And so we can figure this out. What's left is 20%, right? 20% minus 1% minus 5% minus 3%. So now we just figured out we have 11% left as a potential salary. Now, do we have other domestic employees? Do we have, we want a saving for like a forklift or a pallet or something? We can create something for that. But what's left is 11% is available inside the business now to go to you and your employee salaries, that sort of thing. Now, what I would do for this is I would create a separate bank account to put this salary money in each and every month. And the benefit of that is, right, so this all obviously it can be convoluted, but I would keep this separate, right, because this 11% is at a fixed amount, right? We can figure that out. Right, in this case, $11,000 per month we're paying ourselves. Now, the cool thing is, if this goes into our bank account, right, and if we divide this, say we're taking a weekly payout, a weekly, salary dispersion, so we're paying ourselves almost $3,000 a month or $3,000 a week, $2,750 each and every week, based on all this math. The cool thing is, if this is going into a bank account and we're paying ourselves the same $2,750 every single week and $11,000 every single month, the growth of our business will be very evident, right? Because if we are paying a fixed salary each and every week and month, and this is based on our payouts, as our payouts grow, this bank account, which is holding your salary money, is going to balloon, right? So it's going to go from $15,000 to $20,000 to $25,000 to $30,000. You'll see the extra, and it'll be very apparent as your business is growing, because the salary you're paying yourself is not going to make up the entire chunk of that bank account. And so that's really the cool thing of laying it out in this format, is because, right, one, it keeps everything organized, but two, and more importantly, you'll be able to see, and it'll be very obvious how much your business is growing simply by how much your salary bucket is growing. And that's the blueprint, and that's the format, and that's how I would suggest you kind of formatting it and really working how to pay yourself in your Amazon business. That's going to be it for today's video, guys. If you liked it, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.